Welcome to Kicks and Minivans, the podcast for dads who love sneakers. I'm your host, KG. However you're watching and listening, man, we're glad you're here. Thanks for hanging out with us for a bit. Fun little fact for you, this is the second time I'm recording this because the first time through, I had the mic muted the entire time. So this should be really good, huh? Because we had a trial run the first time. But yeah, we're going to jump into the kicks of the week. This week is right here. I'm holding it in my hand. It is the Dame 6 Shock Yellow. As I've said before, aside from Jordans, Dames is my favorite line of sneakers to collect. Usually I wear them on the basketball court. Started with the Dame 2s, had some 3s, 4s, 5s, and 8s on the basketball courts. The 6s, I don't think I've worn a pair of 6s on the courts, but they are super comfortable and I love just rocking them in the day-to-day life. And this right here, the yellow one, might be my favorite sneaker I don't know. It might be, like, it's in the top 5 for sure, probably top 3, but it might even be number 1. And I know it's not for everybody. I know it's not everybody's style and taste, but it is definitely mine. I absolutely love this shoe. It's starting to get a little dirty and beat up because I've had it for a few years and it definitely gets its usage. But that's my kicks of the week. This week is the Dame 6 Shock Yellow, one of my favorite pairs in my collection. Now, before we get into the meat and the content of this week's episode, had to bring back my wife Becky for another draft. We are doing our favorite fall things. Fall is our favorite season for both of us, and so this should be a good draft. Let us know in the comments who you think won this one. Lots of y'all coming at me saying that she takes most of them. I disagree, but I value your opinion as well, and so I'm gonna let you believe that. But anyway, let us know in the comments who you think won this one. And wife,
so
you even got your well, it's because I don't want you to see this.
Okay, cool.
Because I got my wifey even got her fall sweater on, the Hello Pumpkin. All right, rock, paper, scissors on shoot for first pick. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You want first pick because I win rock, paper, scissors every single time.
No,
you can have first pick.
No,
I
got it.
I want you to have it.
You got it. I'm gonna win fair and square.
Nope, I want you to have it.
I'm gonna win.
I insist. I won.
Okay.
And I choose you to have first.
For the sake of getting it first, I'm picking football.
I didn't think you were gonna pick football.
Strategy move.
All right, number 1, I'm taking hoodies.
Okay. Yep.
I'll even say hoodies is greater than football. Hoodies is the greater number 1 pick. I love football though, but hoodies.
And
hoodies.
to tag on to my number 1 because football.
Tag on.
I know, but football brings buffalo chicken dip. It's worthy of stating.
All right. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
You'll allow it.
Sure, you can have that. All right, go. You're number 2.
Can I say 2 things that are kind of like you?
You took 2 with the first pick. Like, what is this?
Okay. Corn mazes.
Those are fun.
When else can you do a corn maze? Like a legit planned out one.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want in the corn of Indiana, but
number 2 for me, I'm taking Thanksgiving.
okay.
I love Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's right up there. It is.
It's
up there.
It's like the end of fall. Where you're like,
it's like the tail end of fall, but it's like you're like, Christmas is coming, baby. It's like that's like the first, like, where it's socially acceptable to play Christmas music now. It's like right after Thanksgiving and just all the feelings.
Number 3, apple cider donuts.
Oh,
The homemade ones.
Those are good. Yeah, we had a letdown
We did.
the last orchard we went to. The donut was not worth it. Not worth the hype. But yeah, those
Still
are
good.
those are clutch though.
But we have high expectations.
Number 3 for me, it's when you stop sweating just from walking outside. Like, we finally, like, today was the day we're recording this is like the first day where it feels like fall.
Yeah.
It was like under 60 degrees. Like, you had to throw a hoodie on. Like, the fact that you don't sweat the second you walk outside, that one right there.
Yep.
That's number 3.
I agree. That's a good one. I did have hoodies. Okay. I'm gonna say this is wordy, but when you can open your windows and the air is crisp and you have like a cinnamon candle lit,
It's so specific.
but it's so fall.
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
It's not the same any other time of year.
My number 4. Now, 15 years ago, this might not have ranked so high for us.
School. Kids are in
School started, yes, back to school. Absolutely, back to school. Like, as a kid, that is the worst part of fall. It's the worst part of fall is you have to go back to school. But now, like, we're on the other side of that. Like, we're old now. And so it's like all the parents are like, tag teachers, you're it. Kids are back to school. And it's like all the parents are celebrating. Like, the first day of school is as great as the last day of school for kids. So the back to school is my pick.
That's a fair answer for you. I'm going to say, because I can't not say it, pumpkin patch.
Pumpkin patch. I knew you'd have the like
Activities.
all the fall activities to go do and stuff. So.
Can you go to a pumpkin patch and not smile when you see them?
Yes. Apparently
You can.
when you say
I can.
hello, pumpkin. It is fun taking the kids though, especially because they're at the age where they're like smaller than the pumpkins. Some of the
Can you
pumpkins are
imagine
just
Corey
bigger than
trying to
them.
carry the big pumpkin?
He would try. He would really try, you know. My 5th and final pick, I just feel like I can't.
Are you debating?
Yeah. I was going to go with the leaves
Same
changing
boat.
color because I feel like that can't not get
Right.
taken, but I'm going to take chili. Maybe it's because we just had it for dinner, but like chili needs to get drafted as well. So chili for my last pick. Now, I think it's pretty common for people to talk about regret, right? And usually we frame it as like, I want to live with no regrets, or like we think about like, hey, when we're laying on our deathbed, like what are the things that we'll regret? And I think that's good. I think, you know, if we ever took a loss, we learned a lesson, right? Like if we ever have regrets in life, that's a lesson. That's something that we can learn from to not repeat that mistake, right? Hopefully. And so I think it's wise to look at the regrets that we have in life in order to learn from them. And even look at the regrets of other people around us so that we can learn from them. But I also think it's wise to look at the things that we don't regret. Like, what are the things that we are doing right now that we know that we won't regret? Because if we can look back 50 years from now and say like, hey, I don't regret that I did that. I don't regret that I did this. Then that tells us in today's day and age to put more time and energy and focus and priority on those things and continue doing them and doing them to the best of our ability, right? And so today in this episode, I want to highlight 5 things I won't regret as a father. There's lots of things I've done as a dad that I've regretted doing, right? There's lots of things, though, that I've done as a dad that I don't regret doing. And so I want to highlight 5 of the top ones. Some of them might be a little controversial. One of them is extremely a personal thing for me that everyone might not agree with, and that's cool. But the number one thing I think we could all probably agree is I won't regret the time that I spent with them. And I know as a stay-at-home full-time dad, like I have more time with my kids than the average dad does, right? Just because of the nature of I'm the one staying at home taking care of them all the time. We're not sending them off to daycare. They don't have a nanny, none of that stuff. I'm the one that's with them all the time. And so I get just a vast amount of hours with my kids. And right now, like we got 2 toddlers. They're 3.5 and 1.5. So we are fully in toddler zone in the G household right now. Like we are in it, man. We are in it. And one of them's in a crying phase. One of them's in a screaming phase, right? And so if you tell one of them no, he's just going to scream at you. And try to get you to say yes. If you tell the other one no, he's just gonna have a meltdown. He's crying, he's sobbing uncontrollably, like just needs to be consoled 130 times a day, right? And so the amount of hours that I spend with them can get really exhausting really, really quickly. But I also would say, man, in 3.5 years now of being a dad, 3 years of being a stay-at-home dad, I don't regret any minute that I've spent with them. Even the tough ones, man, even the hard ones. Like, I don't regret any time that I spent with them and thought, like, hey, I wish I would have done that instead of play with my kid. Like, I've never thought that. I never will think that. Right? And if you're a dad, like, you get that too. And most dads out there, they can't spend the amount of time that I spend with them because they're the ones that are out there providing for the family, right? But so many studies show that it's not the quantity of time that you spend with your kids, it's the quality, right? And so even though I'm the one that spends the vast amount of hours with the kids, the higher quantity, both my kids right now are in a mama phase. They both prefer mama to me. And it hurts sometimes, right? Like let's not trip. But, at the same time, I'm cool with that because when mama comes home from work, she is 100% in mom mode. Like, she's super mom to these boys, right? Like, she's getting down on the floor. She's playing with them. She's making noises with them. She's playing Hot Wheels with them. She's reading them books. She's having dance parties with them. She's giving them the bath and all that stuff, man. Like, she's doing all the mom things right away with the kids, jumping into it, man. Like, the quality of time that she spends with the kids is greater than the quality of time that I spend with them on an hour by hour basis because she gets so much less of it that she wants to maximize the time that she does have, right? And so it's not just the quantity of time that you have with them, it's the quality, right? You need a certain amount of time with them, but it could be 10 or 15 minutes a day if you make it quality. Set down the phone, leave it on the charger, and go and just invest that time directly into your kid. Have real conversation, build deep, meaningful connections with your kids. That's something that none of us as dads will regret, is the time that we spend with our kids. Number 2 is almost the opposite of that. I won't regret the time I spend taking care of myself. Right? If you go back to the episode we did with Nate Branham in season 1, the 6 domains of health, right? We talked about the 6 different ways that we need to be healthy. And I won't regret any time I spend improving any of those 6 areas, because if I get better physically, emotionally, mentally, relationally, spiritually, like, if I get better in these areas, I become a better dad. I am better for my kids. I become a better man. I become a better husband. I become a better friend, a better son, a better dad. And so it is of the benefit of everyone around me when I go and I take time to work out. When I'm taking time to listen to a podcast, when I'm taking time to read, when I'm taking time hanging out with friends, hanging out with mentors, learning from other people around me, when I'm taking time to do these things, it makes me better. And so I will not regret any time I spend taking care of myself, because we need to be cared for as well. And that starts with ourselves. We got to take care of ourselves so that we can be there for the long haul for our kids and for our family. So 1, I won't regret the time I spend with my kids. 2, I won't regret the time I spend taking care of myself. 3, I won't regret not spoiling them. Like, my kids will not be spoiled brats. Like, I refuse to let it happen. Like, they will have everything that they need, but they will not have everything that they want. And don't get me wrong, like, I want to give them everything that they want, right? Like, that's in our desire as parents, is to give our kids the entire world, right? Like, and one of the hardest parts, man, is like, I have to sit there when we're driving home and my 3-year-old's like, hey, let's stop for French fries and donuts and milkshakes on the way home. And I'm like, I have to pretend like that's a bad idea. Like, bro, that's the best idea you've had today. Like, let's rock it. Like, that's what I want to say. But I know it's in my best interest and his best interest to not hype him up on sugar and deep fried potatoes an hour before bedtime, right? My kids will not be spoiled. They will have everything that they need. They will have everything that they need. They will not have everything they want. And that's okay. And my kids will be disciplined. My kids will be disciplined. They will learn patience. And it is hard. I need patience as a dad in order to teach them patience, right? That is not an easy lesson to teach them. But my kids will not be spoiled. I will not regret not spoiling them. But they will have everything that they need. They will have a lot of what they want. They will have a lot of stuff that they didn't even know that they wanted. But they won't have everything. And that's okay. Because I can't give them everything, and they don't need everything. And life isn't going to give them everything. And that's okay. That's cool. But if I could teach them that lesson at 2, 3, 4 years old, it saves them a lot of heartache at 12, 13, 14, or 22, 23, 24, right? The earlier we can teach them these lessons in life, the better off they're going to be. I won't regret the time I spend with them. I won't regret the time I spend taking care of myself. I won't regret not spoiling them. And this one's very personal for me. And this might not be applicable to everyone, but I won't regret waiting to have kids. We got married fairly young. I was 24, she was 22. And our first son was born about 3 months before our 5-year anniversary. Due to math. But I will not regret waiting those 5 years to have kids, because what we will never get that time back. Those 5 years that we spent together, just me and her, like building a strong foundation upon which to build a family, we'll never get that time back, because once you become a dad, you're never not a dad again. You are always a dad. And so having those years as just husband and wife without the other responsibilities added into it helped us build a stronger marriage, a stronger foundation that we could eventually build a family upon. And this won't be the same for everybody, right? Like maybe you got married, you were a little bit older, maybe you got married young and you just wanted to jump right into parenthood. That's dope. That's great. The way we did it isn't for everybody, but it was definitely for us. And I will not regret waiting. I will not, 40, 50 years from now, I will not look back and think like, man, I wish I had kids right away, like in the first year or two. Like I won't regret that. And it ties into the fifth and final thing I won't regret. I won't regret putting their mama ahead of them. We've talked about it on here before, right? Like God is first and Becky's right after. Becky is the most important human in the world to me, and it's not even close. I love my kids to death, but Becky is the most important human on the planet to me, and it's not even close, right? It goes God, Becky, my kids, Philadelphia sports. They might not be that high, but they're pretty high. The Philadelphia sports might not be that high, but they're pretty high up there. But I will not regret putting their mama ahead of them, because it protects them, it helps them feel loved, and it helps them feel safe and secure. Because I love my kids, I will love their mama more. Because the best thing that I can do for them is to show them how much I love their mama. Because when they know how much their daddy loves their mommy, they feel loved, they feel safe, they feel protected, they feel secure. They will always know without a shadow of a doubt that mommy and daddy are tight. They'll always know that. They're never going to have to question if mommy and daddy are okay. We will always be okay. We're always going to be good. And they will never have to question that. And because of that, they can feel safe. They know that when they're home, they are good. When they are with mommy and daddy, they are good. They are safe. They're protected. They're in the safest place in the world when they're around mommy and daddy. Right? Like they will always know that, because I will always put my wife first. Their mama will always come first. They will always know how much their daddy loves their mommy. And that is going to help them feel safe and loved and secured and protected. And so the drop for this week, consider the things that you will regret in life, but even more, consider the things that you won't regret. Because when we think about the things we won't regret, we can pour into them more, we can do them more, we can cultivate them more, we can do them better. Because I'm looking at this list and spending time putting this episode together, I know that the time I spend with them, I want to maximize that. I want it to be not just the quantity of hours, but the quality of hours. I want to continue putting their mama first. I want to continue trying to not spoil them, right? That one's tough sometimes, but I want to continue taking care of myself. When I think about the things I won't regret, it helps me focus and do those things better. So consider for you, what are the things you'll regret in life, but what are the things you won't regret? And that's not just about parenting, that's about marriage, that's about your career, your friendships, your finances, personal decisions you're making. Think about all those things. What are the things that you won't regret doing? And let's pour into those and do those a little more.